Episode number 650 is here today, brought to you by cactusradionetwork.com. You can get all of my podcasts in one spot, absolutely free. At cactusradionetwork.com, you can find Let There Be Talk, At Home with Byron Katie, The Grail, and Dark Fonzie. Visit it and spread the word. It is Monday, June 6th. Hope you had a great weekend. I had a good weekend. Lots of fantastic comedy, actually. The fucking crowds were amazing. Went out, saw some concerts. I went and saw, I saw Jack White this week. I'm like, I'm not seeing any more concerts. And then here I am. They pull me back in. Jack White. Then Friday night, I went to the Whiskey. I think it was Friday or Saturday. Yeah, Friday. And saw the Zappa Band. And then last night I saw Buck Cherry. And tonight I'm going to go see the Kills. So it's just fucking concert mania. I won't go to a concert if I have stand-up shows. And I try to get on stage every night. So if I have a stand-up show, I will not go to a concert and skip a stand-up show ever. So anyway, sometimes the timing works out great. Couple shows at the store and then run up to the Whiskey, see the Zappa Band. That's what I did on Friday night, and they were fucking mind-boggling. Jack White was mind-boggling. Buck Cherry laying down the old school rock and roll. Just a great week of music. So, speaking of the Zappa Band, my guest today is a Zappa. And his name is Ahmet Zappa. I've had a lot of people in the Zappa world on this podcast, so if you are new here, go back and hear Mike Keneally or Scott Tunis or Joe Travers or Dweezil. They've all been on the show and have been fantastic episodes. I've always been fascinated by the Zappa music. It is completely mind-boggling. It is, for most people, tough to get their head wrapped around it. They're like, I don't know what this is. Where's the hook? Where's the poppy flavor? It is some of the most intricate and radical music ever to be played. And to see the Zappa Band live right now with these wizards, Ray White on guitar, and I mean, it's crazy. One of the songs they were playing on Friday night was like 28 minutes long with so many parts. It's like part jazz, part cartoon music, part rock and roll, and just really intricate stuff. Just it's to see this shit is so amazing. Humans, and they're fucking old guys now. I can't even barely remember what I did last week, and these guys are remembering long, intricate songs. So it was great to finally have Ahmet on the show. And I will say this, and it is something I can't stress enough. In this world of people like, oh, I'm team Dweezil or I'm team Ahmet or any kind of that bullshit. Look, man, every family, every friendship, there's battles. I'm not Ahmet, and I am not Dweezil, and I am not a Zappa. So I don't know what is going on except for what each guy tells me, and I don't care. It's not my family. It's not my business. I enjoy both sides, their entertainment and their flavor, and what Ahmet and Dweezil did years ago when I was young, watching this incredible band. So there's no such thing as team to me. Just look inside your own family, and I'm sure there's 2 or 3 people, unless you're completely weirdos like the Waltons or something. There's people in your family you don't talk to. There's people in your family you battle with. And it could be not even over an empire. It could just be over the fucking color hat you wore last week. So don't judge people that you don't know, because every family, every friendship has some kind of fuck that guy. And it's just amazing how people just don't even, look into their own self of like, well, I mean, look, it is insane to be in the public eye. Look at all of the classic battles over years of rock, let's just say. Black Crowes, Oasis, just to say a few. Look at Liam just played Nebworth to like 100,000 people. 2 nights. And his brother, they could probably get together and fucking do 10 nights Nebworth. Like 1 million people. That's fucking crazy. Anyway, my point is, just fucking enjoy everything, like, hey, this guy, these two don't get along, but we get this and this from them now. Like when Sabbath split off with Ozzy, right? We got fucking Diary of a Madman and Blizzard, and we got Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules. So anyway, erase all that shit and enjoy this great episode. It was so cool to talk to Ahmet about all kinds of crazy stuff. Voiceover, the Zappa world, the Zappa experience, the hologram, as I would call it. He says it's a whole other thing than that, which is very cool. We get into that, and we get into our love of metal, which is really where we fucking bond. Just love of metal and music. Very cool guy. And glad he did the show. Real quick, let's get into the Patreoners. New Patreoners that I cannot thank enough. Joining my Patreon, patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. You can join me on a Zoom once a week. I have bonus episodes that drop. And thank you, everybody, for the kind words on the bonus episode I did last week for everybody. It was the bonus episode that I provided out into the world, just so you can get a little flavor of what the Patreon's like. Todd Kent, thank you so much for just incredible support. Tony Gomez, OU821, joined back up. Thank you. Chris Heron, Frank Bernacle, amazing, and Steve McDonald. Thank you for your support. This is just, it helps, man. This show is a one-man show. And any kind of support is just greatly appreciated. Also, tour dates galore. Tour dates coming out of my ass. Tour dates coming out of my ass. I just, we just announced the Marcus King Youngblood Tour. Neil Francis, Ashland Kraft, Marcus King, and myself. It's rock and roll and comedy, a tour together. There will be a full set of stand-up comedy and sets of rock and roll, and then at the end of the night, hopefully, super jams. This is something very, very cool, and we're trying to really make this the regular again, like back in the 70s when comedians and rockers would tour together. And Marcus King and I have been talking about it for 5 years, so the tour dates are out there in the wild all across America. Great venues like the Beacon, the Wiltern, the Ryman, the Tabernacle, the San Francisco Masonic. There's so many beautiful venues where I'm going to just be telling poop and dick jokes. So, yeah, that's cool. And then more Bill Burr fucking tour dates. Goddamn, Bill is a saint. Which, by the way, Bill Burr and his Friends That Kill just dropped today on Netflix. Check it out. I am not on it. I've said it before. I got cut out. My set was hot trash. So enjoy everybody else. Jimmy Carr killed. Ian Edwards destroyed. Great show. Bill Burr, Dave Attell on there, the legend. Holy shit. Anyway, that is on Netflix today. Came out today. Get into that and then see me with Bill Burr around America and Canada. Coming up in a couple weeks, I'm going to Calgary and Vancouver first time. So very cool. I love you, Bill. Thank you for bringing me out on this insane ride of the arena tour, and congrats on this cool Bill Burr Friends That Kill that dropped today. It was very, very cool to be a part of that. No matter how it turned out for me, it was a learning experience, and it was just fucking cool to be in that whole scene with these legendary comics, man. Jimmy Carr, Dave Attell, Burr, Ian, Jessica Kerson's on it, Michelle Wolf. It's fucking great. Okay, keep the candles lit, my friends. Please leave a review and subscribe on iTunes and YouTube. Believe me, this absolutely helps. It bumps the show up in the top 50 on iTunes. It really helps. Here we go. Let's get into it. Ahmet Zappa. All right, here we are. Another episode of Let There Be Talk. Great guest today. Introduce yourself.
Ahmet Zappa. I'm supremely jealous of your Def Leppard whiskey a go-go shirt. Epic. I didn't get to go. Was it one of the best nights of your life?
You know what's funny, man, is it's something crazy about Def Leppard. I've seen them since the High and Dry tour.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because Joe Elliott said something. He goes, "We've never played a small room in America because the first time we came here was with Pat Travers on the On Through the Night tour, and that was Santa Monica Civic."
Right.
And then High and Dry, they're out with Judas Priest or Blackfoot. Then after that, Pyromania drops, and it's been arenas ever since.
Yeah.
And you think about that, arenas ever since. Nobody's saying that, except for like Springsteen, Metallica, or whatever. But man, so to see him in there was nuts.
Well, they're just. Look, they have many players, unfortunately, they're no longer with us, and circumstances and things. But they're incredible. Joe's hilarious. He is one of my vocal heroes. The sound that band makes is incredible.
It's unreal. Well, I'll tell you the weird thing too. It's an unfortunate thing, but they have this era that's so big that people like me, I don't know yourself, but the first two records are masterpieces to me.
Yeah. I mean, I this is the weird debate too.
Yeah.
People only ever talk about like the first two records as masterpieces and then discard,
Yeah.
like
I don't discard that, but they do. They discard they don't play anything on those records.
Right. No. I mean, then people talk about
Yeah. I'm
Hysteria,
not into that. Yeah. You're fucking sold out, all that dumb shit.
Yeah, which I equally enjoy those records too.
Same here. It's like Metallica Black Album.
Yeah.
People are dummies that say shit like that.
It's not like even like Metallica was trying to make. Oh, we need to make a commercially viable, radio-friendly record. That's not what they did. They happened to just strike a chord, I think, with a lot of people with how hard they were rocking on the the Black record.
I mean, that shit's all organic. They're not. Hetfield wouldn't even know how to write a radio song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so weird.
I think he'd be better at making a hot rod. A better. I think this is what the public would like. I could get probably good price on this custom car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also I think radio started to catch up and change. Like Sad But True, a song like that is so heavy. That wouldn't have been on the radio 10 years before.
Certainly. I mean, I remember vividly waking up in the middle of the night. I used to go to sleep listening to KNAC. For your listeners, it was a really popular radio station in Los Angeles that was a hard rock station, and it was my everything. It's all I listened to. There was no need to listen to any other radio station. And I had these little tiny mini Bose speakers in my setup in my room, and I'd go to sleep every night with music. And one of the craziest things, 2 a.m, probably thereabouts, wake up because I hear a sound, and it's Enter Sandman followed by Nirvana. That's they played those two. The first
Smells
time
Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah. Those two tracks back to back. I was like, "What is happening right now?" And I didn't go to sleep for probably a couple hours after that. It's like what the hell was that music? So awesome. Maybe they played a little Dio after that, Holy Diver. But
you love Dio, right?
I love
Dio. Man, I love the Dio Sabbath. more than the Ozzy Sabbath.
I agree with you.
It's amazing. I've said it many times on the show how Sabbath breaks up, and then we get some of the great. Well, they don't break up. The Ozzy splits, and we get the greatest records ever: "Diary of a Madman" and "Blizzard" and "Holy Diver" or "Mob Rules"
And "Heaven and Hell."
"Heaven and Hell," and then "Holy Diver" after. You're like, what are the odds?
Yeah, no, it's an awesome time. It's weird. I don't like it feeling like we're part of the same tribe, you and I. Growing up, I guess, at a certain time and discovering those records as they were coming out. And, as much as I can help turn people on to the awesomeness that happened in the 80s, I always try to. And I like to say that there's a resurgence and more people are discovering and playing that music authentically now. I don't know, but the Mob Rules and "Heaven and Hell."
Oh,
Seriously, one of the two most important records ever to me.
"Sign of the Southern Cross," dude, is one of
It's
the.
the sign of the Southern Cross.
I love it, right? Like,
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so great. It's like it just comes on, and every time the way he sings, we're up to the witch.
Yeah.
It's just so like, yeah, fuck yeah, we do.
No, Dio was one of the greatest singers
It's
of all
insane.
time. I mean, if there's 10 maybe awesome vocalists. I mean, there's so many great vocalists, I should say, but like 10 that I feel are just your
Technically, where it's just like, oh, nobody can do this. Like a Freddie Mercury,
Lou Gramm.
Oh man, unbelievable.
I mean, just insane. I would even put Billy Squier in there, for his guitar playing and his. I mean, he doesn't have the super power, but just so solid as a player. I mean,
I go Bon Scott, man. Yeah,
unique voice. I mean,
yeah.
bringing the power, I guess.
Because I also put it into, can they do it live?
Yeah.
And there was a lot of guys that couldn't do it live. But you go see like Bon Scott, you see Lou Gramm, that guy could sing.
Yeah, Bad Company, though. I mean,
God,
it's just, he's got to be Freddie Mercury and, why am I blanking on the lead singer's name?
Paul Rodgers.
And Paul Rodgers.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, those two, to me, are neck and neck in terms of crazy awesome singers. But the weird thing is you have in Queen another amazing vocalist hitting the highest notes.
Oh, man.
And killing
Yeah.
it. By the way, they're all so talented. They always sing in tune.
Oh, man.
Play impeccably.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about Queen is the entire band was incredible. I mean, I'm sure they personally think they've had bad nights, obviously, but their bad nights in comparison to like Britney Fox having a bad night.
Right, yeah.
There's no comparison.
Britney Fox, they were the third Aerosmith cover band, because you got Aerosmith, the best ever. Then you got Cinderella, and they weren't bad.
They're not a cover band.
No, but I'm saying the look and the sound.
I feel like Britney Fox was just trying to be Cinderella, and they failed.
Right.
Cinderella, I think, is fucking great. Tom Kiefer.
Yeah.
He has like a monster voice.
Oh, man.
And then people, I think that he had
He does. He's almost Cookie Monster. He's like, save me. Yeah.
baby.
Yeah. I lost my job. You kicked me out of my tree.
Somebody say. Yeah,
He paralyzed the vocal cord and couldn't sing for years, and somebody taught him how to sing one vocal cord now. That's the fucking story I heard.
His new record that he does with his
wife,
other. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I saw him at the Whiskey a few years ago. He was great.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah. I'll tell you who killed. I went 2 nights ago. I've seen him 5 times now, and nobody's touching this guy, Jack White. Nobody touches this guy.
No,
it's unreal. It's like, I saw him with the Raconteurs at the Greek years and years ago, and I said, this must have been what it was like to see Zeppelin in like 69, because it was blues, it was acid rock, it was folk, and it was all mixed in and just powerful and super, super original. Like, what the fuck? And this guy,
he's rarefied air.
Oh, come on, man.
For sure.
Super genius.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You got you got Jack, you got Prince, you got just certain people that have.
Yeah.
Not that the music between Prince and Jack is similar, but
It's just that level, though. You're
Yeah.
like, how do you even get there?
yeah,
You know?
they just bring their uniqueness and their super talent. And another guy you might like if you're not familiar, who makes a big fucking sound and is got to be out of his mind in the coolest way, is Rainwolf.
Oh, yeah. Rainwolf, super insane.
Yeah,
like,
I just,
what the fuck?
I love him.
Oh, yeah,
I just
yeah.
love what a, play anywhere kind of an attitude.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about music, I think, today, that, where we might not have heavy metal back, which to me is my favorite category of music, even though you can just say it's all rock.
Right.
But metal specifically, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest.
Yeah. Saxon.
Oh,
Yeah.
denim
Yeah.
and leather, they go together.
My favorite is Dallas 1 p.m. It's just the whole setup. It's down on Main Street.
Yeah.
The scene was set.
But the weird thing about the Saxon,
Yeah.
or maybe I'm thinking about Udo's
great.
Schneider.
Oh, yeah.
But Saxon was all cool denim and stuff, right?
Yep,
Denim and leather.
Yeah.
But wasn't.
Udo was all camo.
Yeah, that's
It was like military metal.
Yeah, that was a choice.
I'll tell you what, though, man, that Fast as a Shark and all that shit, that's like early super metal of like double bass.
British steel, man.
Yeah, fucking crazy. That new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah.
Those bands, it's just so crazy. Like, I did a job. I had to go out to Europe. And you go to these places where these bands are from, like Sheffield, Def Leppard.
Yeah.
And I'm at this train station, and I walked around Sheffield, and it's an old steel city that was basically UK's Detroit.
Smells weird, looks weird.
Yeah, nothing around, right? And I'm like, I work with a lot. I'm a comedian now, so I work with a lot of people, and they're always complaining, man, nothing's happening. I don't know. I go, hey, man, this band from Sheffield somehow at 16 got out of there, toured everywhere, and is the biggest band ever. When you're in Sheffield, you're like, how could they even get out of here? How did anybody hear about them? No internet, no fucking,
Think about the rise to stardom too, where I can only imagine that what it does to people growing up in towns like you're describing is you either really play your instrument a lot and it just gives you that sort of focus because there's nothing to do, so you go into these imaginary spaces and you really learn how to rock.
Yeah.
Right? And that's clearly what Def Leppard did as an example. And when did they pick up their instruments? You think about just your teenage attitude and then the idea of focus, right?
Right.
And then 1 in a million to find other people that can play
and now you got to find 4 of them.
Yeah, right. It's bizarre. It's fucking
insane.
Crazy.
It's
and
insane.
they're super talented. And they made incredible music. And then you have just the say what you will about Mutt Lange. I think he's a fucking genius.
He's a god.
Yeah,
he's a god.
So you just have him also because he had the ability to choose. I think.
Yeah.
Who he wanted to work with,
Yeah.
and just being able to see how something should sound, like plotting that. It's just a different time where a band needed a kind of a specific producer to make something awesome happen. And for better or for worse, nowadays everyone's making music in their they have the ability to make music in their bedrooms and have access to all of these different plugins.
Oh, they just go Mutt Lange guitar tones. You know what I mean? They're just like, here's the Mutt Lange vocal from Foreigner 4 or Back in Black.
And everything is quantized. You know, it's just so there's just something about the 80s and the 70s and certainly the 60s, before you could do everything in Pro Tools, that just the feel is so great. Maybe that's why I love the music so much. Yeah. And I can be more disappointed in some respects with some of the more hard rocking stuff that I'm hearing, out of bands I love. Speaking of bands I love, have you heard Hailstorm's Raise Your Horns track?
I have not heard that.
That is brought me to tears, bro.
Yeah?
Not afraid to say it.
Yeah.
Not afraid to say it. That fucking track is my new metal anthem.
I think there's some of the greatest music ever right now.
Give me an example.
Mastodon, Gojira.
But these are bands that have been around.
Well, yeah, for but still.
I thought you were going to hit me up with some new music.
Oh, yeah, like new music. I mean, I veer all over the place. There's a band I love. If you're into like Wilco, I love this band, Houndsmouth.
Never heard of them. This is good.
One of the greatest bands I've seen in the last 10 years. Rival Sons, I think, is hands down the greatest rock band going.
Well, if you're going down that rabbit hole, I agree with you. They're amazing. Tyler Bryant, Shakedown. But Tyler, even in all of his endeavors, he's like Jack Whitey in a way, how he experiments with just his music. Whether it's in the Shakedown or solo or, I like to go down the rabbit hole and watch any little videos that he's putting out. But I think his better half, Lark and Poe, those sisters, I love what they're doing too.
How about Marcus King? You down on him?
No. Okay, good.
Marcus King is like, if you're a Black Crowes guy, if you're a Skinnerd guy, if you're a outlaw country guy, just mix him into this thing, and you got this. I first had him on the show when he was 24. I'm about to do a full tour with him across the states, like 38 dates. I don't know. This guy's like 26, 28, but he feels like singer, guitar player, but not your. There's that whole era of Strat in the Hat. I always say where once Stevie Ray was out, everybody got a Strat in the Hat. Not that. A guy who actually can play the shit out of a guitar.
Can you do me a favor, because you're so funny anyways? Yeah. You need to do Strat in the Hat in the style of Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
You should put out, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Who illustrates that?
Yeah.
Please do that in your spare time, bro.
Yeah, fuck, man. But you know what I'm saying? There was that thing where everyone learned guitar and could burn it up, but couldn't write a fucking song. And to me, the first thing, look, I love Eddie Van Halen, but we would not be talking about him for 40 years if he didn't have all those great songs. He would be up there with the other guys, like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. They're great, and they do have some radio songs, but I'm saying...
It's the combination of who... look, it's Alex and Eddie.
Unreal.
The groove... I don't think Alex gets enough credit for his drumming, and certainly even if they worked with different producers, his drum sound is
so great.
It is unique, and his playing. It frustrates me that people don't give him enough kudos.
I think about Al, and you are deep in L.A. myself, and we've both been in rock all our life. I've been backstage. I've been to every party. I've been to every gig or whatever over the years and years. I talked about this 2 nights ago with somebody. I've never seen Al at a party. I've never seen him at a restaurant. I've never ran into him at a Ralph's. I've never seen him at a movie theater.
Yeah.
This fucking guy is a ghost unless Van Halen plays. Now, I don't know if that's how he preferred it. Like, hey, I like to hang in the shadows.
Oh, no. First of all, if you believe that what I believe, clearly works for the CIA.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
When he's not touring, think about it.
With the Scorpions dudes.
Go back, exactly. Go back and look at where they played and then historical moments that happened in that city.
It's going to line up.
People have disappeared.
Yeah. Assassinations we don't know about. Yeah.
His code name is the Eskimo, and they, you in certain circles you say that, and people know they piss themselves, because they know he's like the
Eskimo is on his way,
breaking necks, taking names, kicking ass.
That was my favorite part of Mulholland Drive. Go to the top of Beechwood Canyon, see the cowboy. This would be like, go to Pasadena, meet the Eskimo.
Oh no, you're fucking. You hear that? People shiver.
But you know what I'm saying? Have you ever met him? I've never met him, and I've met everyone.
I have.
You have?
I mean, back
in the old days. He's a dream guest for the show. I've had every fucking drummer on. This guy's a dream guest.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to sit down and talk to this guy.
I was fortunate enough that a lot of people would come to the house.
Oh, yeah,
right?
of course.
So, but not following up on what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I didn't ever really run into him in my.
Yeah, like, what does he do?
I saw him not that long ago, unfortunately, after Eddie passed at getting some sushi.
Oh.
And I just, my heart he just was heartbroken, you know? How can you not be?
Oh, my God. It's just like, that's one that's never going to get over that.
You know, my fantasy is to have Diamond Dave kick my ass in the Mojo Dojo.
Yeah.
I mean, just that to me, I'd take a Jean-Claude Van Damme, giant kick to the head from Diamond Dave any day of the week. That would be great, right?
I wouldn't mind a sword.
Yeah.
Like he just comes at you with the sword.
Yeah, just run me through, bro.
Slayed by...
Highlander me. Chop my fucking head off. There can only be one Diamond Dave.
Could be the weirdest guy ever. I don't know if you've met him, obviously. Weirdest dude, hands down.
I am fascinated.
Same here.
By him.
Same here. I can't figure out who the fuck Dave is. Never, ever see him in a normal interview. He's never like, you get him on, he's like, oh, I tell you, I looked out the side of the window and it was sun is shining and I'm lying. He's just like, what? Him and Tyler, they're like,
Weird.
It is weird. It's Child Star, I think, almost. That thing where someone...
So you're saying that Diamond Dave is Corey Feldman?
Yeah, exactly. Corey Feldman was at the Def Leppard show, by the way, dressed as Michael Jackson.
He's only ever dressed as Michael Jackson.
Always.
Which is so fucking weird.
All right, let's get into it. We actually...
I can't fucking remember where we met.
Doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you right now, which is great. We hung out. We've known each other sparsely, but Scott Tunis and I...
Okay.
Old friends.
Scott tonight. Are you going to be there tonight?
I'm going to stop in there in between my Comedy Store shows and see Keneally and all the guys. And Scott, no, wrong. You're wrong. That is the wrong note. You're playing it wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I don't have that... I never that guy that version that you're talking about can certainly bubble to the surface.
Yep.
But
he's a sweetheart.
That's
what's weird.
I've never had that real experience with him. I've played in a band with him, obviously.
Yeah.
And he played with my dad. He texted me yesterday because obviously the guys are out on tour with the Zappa Band.
Yeah.
He's like, "Am I going to see you?" And he's really thoughtful, and he just goes out of his way. In our friendship and relationship, I love the guy.
I love him too.
He's
if he wasn't a sweetheart, it'd be like, fuck this guy. Because
I think people can more often than not are like, fuck this guy.
Right. But he's so great.
And his whole thing is like zero fucks to give if that's how they feel too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of baller.
Yeah.
He's an acquired taste.
So back in the day, I booked the Stone in San Francisco, and Scott or somebody was like, "Yeah, you got to get Dweezil's band. Him and his brother, Shampoo Horns, is out, and we book you, and then we hang all night at the Phoenix Hotel."
Okay, wait. Are you talking about the Stone Pony?
No, Stone in San Francisco on Broadway.
Yeah,
it's called the Stone. It's on 412 Broadway.
Yeah. Okay.
So you guys play.
We stayed at that was like the first hipster hotel I'd ever
that's
been
it. And fucking and what's his name? Warhol designed the pool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we spent the evening in the hotel room watching these fucking videos of you guys redid E.T. and Last Temptation of Christ. Yeah, we hung out a lot, and then I kind of became friends. I became friends with your brother and Josh over all the years, and I went to a rehearsal at the studio, and we all went and ate at Ernie's.
I love Ernie's.
Yeah, we went.
Do you know? Like as you're saying this, I'm like, I'm having no memory of this shit.
Oh, dude, there's no way you would remember.
And that's actually unlike me.
Yeah,
because I am a never forget a face, always forget a name guy.
Well, I looked way different.
Maybe I need to see a picture, but but still, even normally I would. I mean, I was like, wait, we have. I got the familiarity.
Yeah.
Like reconnecting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just can't pinpoint these things. All the destinations that you're talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, no, that happened.
Yeah.
But I think losing both your parents, and just other trauma, just kind of took over. It had just erased a lot of.
I don't remember anything, dude. Except for after the cell phone, I don't remember anything. It's like the cell phone has completely
Is that it?
erased our brain. But anything before cell phone, I can remember. And if I can't, my buddy would be like, remember that? And I go, oh, yeah, I do. They're like my travelers. Like, dude.
I feel you on that. My closest friend, a gentleman by the name of Tori Mel, who's currently recovering from like his 800th surgery of doing stupid shit that breaks his body down. He remembers stuff I could never remember, and the same is true for me with him, where he has no fucking memories of how he was and the shit he used to do. So maybe I don't know.
I think that memories impact people. Like my memory of that time was great because it was fun and it was exciting. It was early on.
Well, I was born in '74. So what year were you born?
I think I'm your brother's age, so 66.
Strange to me that I'm like embarrassed for myself. I can't
dude,
remember any of this.
there's no way you're gonna remember it, man. It was like a blip in the world, just blip. Like that. It was a gig in San Fran. It was an evening at the Phoenix Hotel. And then it was a full day at your rehearsal. Me and my drummer came down and watched you guys. Scott had us down. And we watched you guys do the medley. And it was the first time I had ever seen it. And I'd heard about it. Like, oh, you got it. We're doing, I think we got 120 songs in the mix or whatever. Yeah. And Josh and and Josh doesn't remember either of my memory. He came in, he was wearing a jacket. You guys start the medley. And during the medley, he takes the jacket off.
Never missing a beat.
With a cigarette behind his ear burning, you know? And those are the kind of things that you just go like, oh, that's so fucking funny. I know he is doing it for us. There's no way. But you guys blew our minds, and then we went to Ernie's and ate. And then there was like
you
maybe
had a Skylab burrito and probably wanted to take a nap in your car.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, it was just fun. Lots of laughs. And that was a thing about you guys, and now me being a comedian. When I wasn't a comedian, I was in a band for years. I was so serious, you know, none of that shit. But now I look back, you guys were so fucking comical and great, you know, and
we you know,
straight comedy, take the piss out of it, you know?
I think that's a survival mechanism, because there's a lot of really challenging music that was being played.
Oh my God.
I mean, not by me. I was just the fucking clown in the group. But I mean, those were good times.
Yeah. Good times, dude.
You know, I have to say, I haven't seen a frontman in a band that ever did anything that that I was doing. I mean, personally.
Oh yeah,
I mean, just the true fucking insanity, and I hurt myself like nobody's business, and loved every moment of it. You know,
if you look at it, I was thinking about it today. It's like there's the time where you guys jammed with John Tesh on Conan, you know, and you're dancing, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, this is a combo of Maynard and Mike Patton, and they're not even around yet. I'm just saying, like, there was that originality in a frontman that you had to have, and you had it. You know?
I personally believe that Scott from Stone Temple Pilots, you know, like dug my moves.
Yeah, you know?
Right.
Arms, totally.
Because he was at one of our shows,
and
he was talking to me about my dancing.
Yeah,
right? And I was like, huh, you know, I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but, you know, well, I'll check your band out. And then I was like, get out, man. Yeah, that's sweet. I mean, who cares?
Like, to me, Maynard, I'm like, where is this guy even from? This is so insane.
I have a really fond memory of driving to Vegas with Maynard.
Whoa.
And we were doing a photo shoot. Shit, maybe he was in Vegas. The point of the story is really just the photo shoot, because I made I I'm surprised that we didn't get arrested or shot or fucking killed because of how ridiculous the scenario was. But Sean Murphy is the photographer, and we were all buddies and hanging out in our youth, and so we took a picture of Maynard for the cover of I want to say it was Radar magazine.
Is it for Tool or Green Jello or what's happening at the time for early Tool?
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, and it's Maynard in just his BVDs,
Yeah.
his Fruit of the Looms.
Yeah.
And I made a belt that looks like he has 17 sticks of dynamite with a clock on the front and a plunger that's like taped to his hand.
Yeah.
So he's like a kind of a Unabomber style person.
Yeah.
And we drove, we're in Vegas to take a picture of him like outside of one of the casinos, like he's going to blow it up. So anyone who's looking at it is genuinely should have been worried.
Yeah. Especially nowadays, man. It's just been sniper. All of a sudden, just a laser. He'd have been taken out.
No, I'm not proud of it. But the fact is that these crazy pictures exist somewhere. You can find them. They have to be on Sean Murphy's site because they're just so outrageous.
Wow.
But Maynard, hilarious, super artistic dude.
One of the greatest, I think, of all time.
I don't know, I keep mentioning that people are hilarious. That's my favorite thing is when people are funny.
Yeah.
And certainly if you're musicians. Like another person who could just be a stand-up as well, John Mayer is...
Oh, he's one of my good friends. That guy's amazing
hilarious.
Funny. Same with Jacob Dylan. Crazy funny, dude. Dry, fast.
Really? Jacob is?
Oh, yeah. A guy walking down the street, he'll say something about him, and you'll be on the fucking ground, man. I mean, lightning speed, dude. Oh,
I love hearing that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
John, I mean, to put out a record titled Sob Rock is... this has to be one of the greatest achievements in human history.
He's so amazing, dude.
And his guitar playing is fabulous.
I think the Born and Raised record is one of the greatest records I'm thank God my dumminess surpassed. So you know what's funny too is the amount of comedy that was in Frank's music and everything. It's so funny how much comedy is in it, and then how serious the fans are. You know what I mean? They're just like, no, they're wrong. Nope, it was 72 when that happened. They're just like, dude, it's fucking funny music.
My dad's music attracted all sorts, but really the standouts that are pretty consistent are these hyper intelligent. I think people certainly responded to the level of musicianship. And
of course,
I mean, the comedy is also pretty political.
Yep.
And can also be really silly, but the silliness is intended to kind of, push a button or to get people to think, in my opinion. I mean, other people might, disagree with me, but yeah, some of the most impossible music to play, and you listen to it and it is something that when you try to play it, you realize, oh no, what the fuck is happening here? There's definitely, obviously, for people that have played in my dad's band, I've seen it's like a rite of passage if you can accomplish playing some of this challenging music, because one song might just tire you out, but a whole night of the most odd time signature changes and
no weird arrangements.
It's
no verse, chorus, bridge, lead.
Yeah, it's like musical gymnastics, but on top of that, certainly when Frank was alive, you have that as a foundation of how you rehearse all these tracks, but then it gets elevated to what are you going to do in the moment by watching Frank, at certain elements in the show, just send the band in different areas in different directions by conducting them, not just how they play, but the comedy that would naturally arise and what each musician brought to the table. There was a physicality too. So that's the beauty of the live experiences, certainly at Frank's shows, is the behavior of the band while they're also their physical behavior, their physicality while they're accomplishing playing the music, because the subject matter, depending on the song, there's a lot of theatrics that could happen. So I think kind of going back, I know this interview might seem like it's all over the place for folks. Maybe, I don't know. But just I'm reminiscing when my brother and I were playing a lot. I think we were totally inspired by the kinds of things Frank did. So we would do, in our shows, this thing with Building a Girl, right? Where instead of Frank looking at the band and conducting them and kind of wrangling his musicians, I took on this role of wearing kind of a lot of different hats that some of the other vocalists or other players would do when my brother and I would play. So building imaginary creatures, or the band was able to kind of track my movements. I mean, we would rehearse this stuff, track my movements. So if I was a gunslinger coming to the town and twirling my guns, like all of that physicality that I had a soundtrack to it.
Yeah, right.
So that was really fun kind of theatrics, and my dad would do a lot of that stuff. So we were totally inspired by Frank, and I don't see a lot of bands that work like that, So there's
theater rock is not really like visual rock, and
I don't know who else ever did that though.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? In the spontaneity of talking to the audience, and then having a soundtrack to a conversation in a town, and what might that be that night? That spontaneity, that was always a great thing about Frank's band. But that's what's great about live entertainment anyways. I really used to be someone who would prefer the album, right? I was like, how come I'd go see a show, it doesn't sound like this? And it was like a real struggle for me in my teenage years of feeling like, I don't want to go to a show because I'm going to be disappointed because they don't sound like this, right?
Right.
And in some cases, it's just because they're terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But then you just get into. I really had to. My musical taste had to evolve into appreciating. Oh no! Like you got to be on that wavelength.
Oh God, yeah.
And you got to go along for that ride. And that's been some of the best aspects of being a music fan. And certainly working in the music industry over the last, I've been a music fan my entire life, but really working in the music industry for the last 6 years, holy bananas. Without music, life is fucking pretty boring,
It's amazing too, the shows that we got to see. I grew up in the Bay Area, but I was in LA also a lot. So I was talking to somebody about this. I was talking to a guy a couple nights ago where he just said, I lived in some fucking bumfuck city where bands didn't come through. But, you're in Laurel Canyon, you spin down to Sunset, and you could just see anybody at the Palladium, the Whiskey, the Roxy, the Troubadour, the Forum, just all these venues.
And I can honestly say I took a lot of that for granted because, I grew up just going to my dad's shows, so a small place didn't feel like the rock and roll, the music churches that they actually are, and they should be more revered for that.
Oh yeah.
So I really did not. I know
you weren't hitting the clubs.
No, I would, but it didn't have the gravitas that it has for me. I didn't have the same respect for it that I genuinely have for it now. Certainly in LA, because. I'm going to sound like a total fucking douchebag, but when we wanted to go to a show, it would be a band that was on MTV and they weren't really playing in these smaller places. So a lot of it was like, they're not successful because they're playing at
I get
this club here or this place there. And I don't know, that was like a stupid optics that I had.
Yeah.
I guess because when I was going to a show, it was, all right, my parents weren't driving me to a show.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a really rarefied kind of a way where if I was going to go to a show, my parents would hire a car to drive us to to a local
Universal Amphitheater.
Yeah, and we'd come out and the car would be waiting for us, and I'm not ashamed of that. I mean, like, that's fucking awesome. So we got to see and experience shows in a really great way. But now I try to see as much live music as possible, and not enough shows actually hit the Roxy.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah, I know.
What I mean? Like, I
that's an underused venue.
Yeah.
I do think the Troubadour is the greatest for like...
zip in vibe. And,
yeah.
I agree with you.
But the Whiskey, that family, and I've had them on the podcast.
Magliaries.
Yeah, I love them, man. Love them. And they have put so much money and heart and soul into that room in the last 20 years. Dude, you go in there and it sounds fucking incredible. I don't care. It could be a shit band and it just like, listen to the sound, and they got the $1 zillion lights in there.
Yeah, where do you like to sit at the Whiskey?
I get up on the balcony and just look straight down, right next to the soundboard.
Yeah, that's where I kind of feel the best. If you're lucky enough to go up there and have like a table.
Oh, God, great. I need a table. I'm old. I'm 56. I'm like, I want to sit down. I don't want a beer spilt on me. I'm usually wearing clothes I like,
Yeah.
And I don't like people just talking to me during the show. Hey, dude, man.
I know, it's fun people watching. I agree with you. Like, now I feel like I'm a big Enough's Enough fan.
Oh, man. Fly High, Michelle.
Yeah, I love it. My dad loved that song.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Total Beatles.
Yeah.
Total Beatles.
My brother and I were in the studio on their follow-up record, and that song Blue Island I can't remember. What came out first?
Shampoo Horns. Oh, I got you.
Or Strength.
Oh, Enough's Enough, right?
That's what it was titled, right?
Yeah, right. Fly High, Michelle. And what's the other song? Oh.
Well, Fly High, Michelle on the first record. I think that was really their only.
I thought they had another one, but Derek Frigo, who was the guitar player, rest in peace. I knew him from the Bay Area. He was in a band called Le Mans. And he was an old friend of mine. He's from Chicago.
Did you ever get Jellyfish vibes from Enough's Enough?
Well, Jellyfish is just another level to me. Spilt Milk is a goddamn masterpiece.
Yeah.
Enough's Enough. Look, they're a fun band and stuff, but I don't dig into them like Jellyfish. To me, that is, if you want to talk about like dudes that were just a complete aliens. Yeah. Roger and those guys, man. I mean, I saw the Spilt Milk tour 4 times.
Well, I think Jellyfish and then Spacehog.
Oh, Spacehog, killer.
Right?
Yeah.
Those two. And no one kind of connects those two. And I try to talk about Jellyfish, one of my hero bands.
Oh, my God.
And I don't find enough Spacehog fans.
Spacehog, great, man. That record was... I saw him at the Great American Music Hall on that tour with the big song.
But it does it sonically.
Yeah.
The Jellyfish records sound amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can go back to Spacehog, and I hate to say it, I love those bands, but I would love to do a remix of the Spacehog records. And
that song, man, it was total Bowie. Yeah. Hey, the field inside the hay, and then he was dating Liv Tyler. What a winner.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that guy was great. There's so much great band in the 90s. All these bands were heavy Beatles influenced.
I mean, that was a thing. Like,
yeah.
you were I think the evolution. Everyone got the Beatles music books, right?
Yeah,
and how they, and you could deconstruct their harmonies and have a better sense of, I guess, to help you in your songwriting. But really, it was like, well, if I wanted to kind of sound like that in my own way, how do they do that?
Totally,
right?
totally.
It's cheat sheets, crib notes for how you can
start with the harmonies.
Yeah.
And Spilt Milk was Beatles and Queen and a few other just great, like, Beach Boys.
But
super original.
Yeah, but so Jellyfish though had a sense of humor,
right,
and what they were singing about.
Oh,
but
yeah,
super personal. It's great storytelling in their songs. So there really were some odd bands, certainly in the 90s, that expressed themselves in really unconventionally unique musical ways.
Well, I think without the 90s, there wouldn't be like guys like Jack White because there were these unconventional songs getting on the radio, say like Cake and Primus.
Yeah.
You know, My Name is Mud and She's Going the Distance.
Yeah.
Those are two wacky fucking tunes that became giant hits that opened the door later for people. And also when I look back on it, probably a lot of Zappa influenced on weird, wacky music that happened to eventually become hits because they're hooky as fuck. Even Green Jelly, you know, little pig, you know, that thing fucking, those are wacky ass songs, but hits. Actual hits, man.
Green Jelly.
Oh, yeah.
When they had to change their name to Green Jelly from Green Jello.
I know, that's so dumb.
Bill Manspeaker.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
wonder what he's doing right now.
I don't know, but that was Maynard doing that voice. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Fuck.
Nice.
Great, man. Great. LA's got some music, man. I watched I had Alex Winter on, and I watched the Zappa Doc.
Alex is awesome.
He's great.
Did you like the movie?
Man, fucking fantastic.
Solid, man. Five years of so much hard work.
That is a smoker documentary. There was a month where it was just some of the greatest docs came out. The Belushi one, the Zappa one, and there was another one all at the same time. And I was like, how great are these fucking documentaries? But the
I
Zappa
hope that
one.
trend continues.
So do I.
I love a good doc. I'm working on a big slate of a bunch of new ones.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get a doc made on me. Just the fucking. There's a thing I think in life where people put they think it's. Somebody once said to me, they were interviewing me on the radio, and they go, "Failed musician, now comedian." I was like, wait a minute, failed musician.
Right.
And he goes, well, I mean, you know, you didn't really make it. Or, I mean, you played 25 years. And I go, I think if you do something for 25 years, that is not a failure.
Yeah.
If you're doing art for 25 years
and you're not dead?
And I'm not dead,
yeah.
and I ate and didn't live in a car or whatever, you know, that's made it. That has made it, you know, so
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because it's... People don't get it. I mean, in Los Angeles, I don't know. My brain just I don't know why, but it's always this versus that. I don't know if that's a normal human characteristic or just what happens in my brain. Like I was telling you, a smaller venue versus a bigger venue somehow connoted like the quality of entertainment I was going to get. Right. Like or like success mattered in the bigger venue or a smaller venue, kind of, relating to what you're saying right now. You have, if you're an actor and a musician, it's two totally different ways to make a living. As an actor, you could be the greatest actor, but it's not something that you really have that much control over. Because someone other than you has to pick you to be in that thing where you can get paid.
Right.
Versus, and I don't think that that's a very satisfying outcome of like, do they like me? That just can erode your soul. Versus being a musician, and if you can make a living playing shows and play, right? It's a totally different connection to an audience. I mean, if you're writing and making your own art, right? Or participating in that with a group of people that really becomes like family and are all feeding off of that energy and, building on what you're doing musically. That's like sorcery. That's fucking magic time.
Totally.
So yeah, I agree. Whoever said that to you should be punched in the dick.
Well, I just think that people,
or if they didn't have a dick, then they're Phantom Dick.
Yeah, they're Phantom Dick. That's a good band name.
Are we starting that band?
Yeah, Phantom Dick. But it's two singers.
Cool.
We both sing.
I love it.
Yeah.
In unison or harmony?
No, it's back and forth like X, but wacky voices.
Okay, I love it.
I'm Bon Scott the whole time, and you are whoever you want to be. So I'm like, in the beginning.
All right, then I'm gonna just go with my Cinderella impersonation.
All right.
So, yeah, I think I can. I can handle that.
Yeah.
For 45 minutes.
Yeah, 45 minutes. Yeah. What? Anyway, the documentary. If you haven't seen it, it came out in 2020. I don't know where it's at now, Netflix or something.
You can find it any place that where you can rent something via your smart device.
It's pretty fucking raw. It's
super honest.
Yeah,
that
it's
was
super honest, which is what I loved about it. Not a lot of people are going to show their dad cheating on their mom. In a movie, they would be like, let's even the Carlin doc right now is super raw and fantastic.
Yeah, that was super. How many times can I say super? It was really intentional, a concern from the beginning, certainly for Alex, and because we did it together. I didn't want at any moment to have it feel like
hiding stuff or bypassing stuff like that. This just felt like this is Frank. And he was honest anytime he was on the mic. So why change it now?
Exactly. That was paramount to the entire journey, which was, uncensored, unfiltered, and Alex was the wanted to be able to tell the story he wanted to be able to tell, and he found certainly through the footage and the access to the content, he always knew he wanted to make the movie because we knew we had so much footage of him talking,
right?
That the goal was, hey, can we do this with Frank telling his own story in his own voice? And he found that and delivered on that, and it's super emotional for me to. There, I said super again. Every time I say super in this podcast, make sure you're doing a shot.
It's got to be there. There you're just looking at your dad, your mom and your dad, your life, your brothers, your sisters, and this story.
Yeah.
And also, there's that interesting thing in Los Angeles that you only get, I think, in LA, maybe a little in New York, but what you get, children of famous people. You don't really get that. Maybe sports figures or what, you know what I'm saying? So
what are you saying?
I'm saying in LA is really only one of the places you ever really get children of famous people.
Oh yeah.
And you guys are still alive and everything. There's no tread.
Well, I'm dead inside, bro.
Yeah. I've been dead inside since 2020. But you know what I'm saying? There's not the cliches. It's funny. One time I asked you.
No, there are ton of fucking cliches
in your but I'm saying the drug cliche.
I think being the son or daughter of anybody, it's like a turning point now where I think maybe that's more of a blessing on social media for some people. That's what it feels like. I don't think that there was ever, at least for me, I never walked into a situation feeling like I had some kind of an advantage, and I certainly did, just from, there's always food on the table.
Right.
And from that, there's an interest because of my dad being a public figure and a well-known musician, but I didn't care. You know what I mean? My normal was, my dad's just a musician. That's his job. I was aware that people were always interested in, like, what must that be like growing up? And that question gets asked so many times that it just triggered in me, like, again, the fact that anyone likes my dad's music is a positive, right?
Absolutely.
And I feel like we have that in common. So that commonality is a good feeling. But I really hope I've never, walked through life feeling I'm better than or kiss my ass because my dad was somebody.
Right, yeah. That's a classic. That's a Kennedy thing, I think.
But I do think that some people get trapped in that kind of a mindset.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I definitely had those kinds of filters like I was talking about. I was blessed in that my usual was not someone else's usual. If I waited in line to go to a show, that was a novelty for me, because I didn't have to do that. All my friends were like, I went to Music Plus. It's at 5 a.m.
I was slept all night to get Kiss tickets.
Yeah, right. And I didn't have to do that, so I couldn't relate to that. And I'm not ashamed of that. Yeah, it took me a long time to find that kind of equilibrium to have a better understanding, so that I guess people, he's still a human being. My dad, he was a very macho Italian dude.
Yeah, big time, which is wild, right?
Yeah, and I try to describe it to people, and I think it kind of ruins the fantasy. You know what I mean?
The mystique, man. You know what I mean? He just kind of was this, and you're like, oh, really? Like, I always thought when I was young that Frank was just on drugs.
Yeah.
Did you ever venture into drugs, or you not either?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's contrary to what people think. Frank's talked about maybe smoking pot a couple of times.
Of course, yeah. That's
but definitely was not a drug taker. For me personally, there would not have been a problem if I was doing drugs, I suppose. I mean, I would, I can imagine it would have been disappointing, I guess, to my parents if I was, behaving like a crazy person. But my sit-down chat with them, they invited me into their bedroom, and the drug talk was, hey, you can do them. We just won't pay for them.
Oh, right? Wow.
And
I love that.
Yeah.
I think if you tell someone to do them, they won't do them because there's no rebellion.
Well, around it, I think it's natural that, people experiment, but also in the media at the time is Nancy Reagan just say no.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. So it was like, oh, that's just, drugs are bad.
Yeah.
So it was not a big deal. And my friends that would be get high or drink or, do drugs, that's pretty obvious that to me, it felt like a lack of control.
Yep.
And I think I always felt a need to be in my body and be very present, because that was what my parents were like. That feeling of, if my mother or father were working on something, they were very present in what they were working on, and they were really clear on, look, I can't talk right now, I'm doing this. But when it was time to talk, you had their undivided attention. So maybe that was unique, I suppose. But yeah, it led me down a road where I still to this day, it's 2022.
Yeah.
Never taken any drugs. I've never smoked pot. My wife thought I was really. She's like, you can be kind of high strung. So if we're gonna stay together, you're gonna have to drink this tequila.
Whoa!
Yeah. I became truly an appreciator of spirits. I love.
That's like Scott Ian from Anthrax. He didn't party at all, ever. And now he loves a good tequila or a good wine or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think also if you start later on in life and in the Uber world now where you can just Uber home,
But there's nothing, there's not like, look, if I have an addiction, if anything, it's, it's probably the cupcakes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sugar clearly is
that's the demon, dude.
Yeah, is a drug.
Yeah.
But if I have 2 drinks, I'm like, okay, that's a good time.
Yeah.
I can drink more, but I have never been drunk where I can't remember what happened, or like there's nothing to excess like that.
Right.
That's not in my DNA. I guess I'm fortunate in that way, and it's the same for my wife. And I know that other people struggle with those sort of demons of just going harder at other hard drugs or booze, and I don't want that. That's I feel bad for people that not that I have judgment at all. And I hate that I'm even laughing right now, but it's my honest truth. When I'm like, oh, someone is sober, I'm like, I missed that party. You know what I mean? Like, because I was like, I'd love to have a drink with that person. And when they're sober, I'm like, oh, shit. Well, I mean, it's no big deal. I don't have to drink around them. It's like a sensitive subject. I don't want to be triggering for somebody.
Yeah.
But, I'm like, that's tough. That being like a sobriety, my heart really goes out to people because it's fucking tough. It's great to go to a restaurant, a tacos and a margarita. That feels like a God-given right. You know?
That's the ultimate combo.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, with the salt around the edge.
I can pass on the salt. That's not my jam. But, just a double Cadillac margarita?
No, man.
Hi.
Yeah.
When are we doing that again? Yes, please.
Yeah.
But that's a good time if you can, have a cocktail with some loved ones. It's pretty great. So, my dad loved beer. He loved wine. But it wasn't something that, where if a meal was cooked in the house, it wasn't like, hey, can I get a beer or have wine with that?
Yeah.
That didn't happen really in front of us. If he was out on the road or going for a nice dinner somewhere, yeah, he'd have a glass. There was a cringe-worthy moment. My dad, very expensive restaurant in New York. I don't think it's around anymore, called Le Cirque. And
Le Cirque.
You could only go there if you were wearing a suit. And we used to stay in the hotel, and Le Cirque was at the bottom of the hotel. And so we all went there as a family, and I remember having to have they gave me a jacket, and a smelly, and a tie. And I remember my dad feeling very embarrassed, or that's my recollection, that we were just kids behaving like kids in a very fancy restaurant. My dad ordered a bottle of wine, and I watched my parents. This is the first time I was ever aware of the cost of something, too. He ordered a $2,000 bottle of wine and sent it back.
Whoa!
And so the feeling was like, ooh.
Oh, fuck.
And I watched my mother, and, my dad, swilled it around in his mouth. I was like, no. Send this back.
Whoa.
Never seen something like that before. But that was an eye opener, and then another time, again, my dad, macho Italian man. My older brother, sister, and I were in the lobby of this hotel. We were in Frankfurt. It was my dad was sick, and this is during the Yellow Shark era. If people are familiar with that record, but there was a jazz lounge piano player. So I decided to do an interpretive dance.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
And we were just laughing and, not necessarily making fun of what was happening on the piano, but
just being kids.
Having fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my dad was across the way, maybe doing some interviews, and I got the look. And I was like, oh, shit. I walk over. I got the look at 18.
Yeah.
Getting the look like,
yeah.
I'm embarrassing my dad.
Yeah.
He's like, this hotel is part of a chain. And if you ever want to stay here again, you shouldn't behave that way. And that felt totally out of character to any kind of conversation I'd had before, and he was I chalk it up to he was in a lot of pain, really irritated,
right?
And
out on tour.
Well, to some extent,
right? Yeah. But I get it. Out, not at home.
Yeah. So I was like, that would normally be something where he would be cracking up because we were doing it as a family. Because all of our meals, when we would sit down, the game at the dinner table was, who could make Frank laugh harder. So comedy was so important in our house. But that was a tough moment.
Are you a big stand-up comedy guy? Do you go at all?
That's my big regret in life.
Yeah.
Is that I stopped or didn't see enough stand-up.
Wow. Yeah. Especially with the Comedy Store right in the backyard.
Yeah. It's and I didn't do it enough. Yeah. And every time I go, I'm completely grateful. And it's a strange thing. The Comedy Store, plenty of documentaries. I'll just feel like I'm just regurgitating what other people, say.
Yeah.
But there really is a difference between the rooms.
Oh yeah, it's
and the vibe.
It's my life, I'm there every night on stage. There's a great special out right now that Fahim just put out. Fahim Anwar. It's on YouTube called The Hat Trick. Okay. So there's 3 rooms there.
Yep.
And us comedians, the term hat trick is if you do all 3 in one night. Now, if you're a big star like Chappelle, you can do it no problem. Just walk in, hey, I'm Dave. I'm like, and they go, Dave, do the hat trick. But for somebody like Fahim or myself or other comics that are coming up, it can organically happen. And when it happens, you're like, holy shit, I did the hat trick. And the vibe of each room is so
different.
So different. And I love them all. People are like,
I don't love the big room.
You don't love the main room. Well, the best room is the original room.
Yeah.
That one that's off the patio. And then the belly room's cool for just working shit out and finding yourself. Mm-hmm. And I like the main room. I
like it.
Yeah, it's just not different. It's a dates.
Because the time when I was seeing a lot of comedy, I used to go all the time with Moon. I just love the original Largo.
Oh, yeah.
So are you friendly with Greg Barrett?
Greg Barrett? No, who's that?
He used to do a bunch of stand-up. He doesn't do it so much anymore.
Right.
He had a show called Bring the Rock. He would do at Largo.
Uh-huh.
And it was so great.
Right.
He would have different people come and tell a comedic story.
Oh, yeah, and then they jam.
Yeah. Did you ever go to I.O.?
I.O., yeah.
So I think, I want to say their show, they had a show called the Armando Show. Did you ever see that?
No.
I could be fucking up exactly how this works. I did it a few times, and again, it could be a blur because, again, my wife turned me on to tequila. But the goal was someone would play Armando, right? And that was just the moniker you were given. It could be male, female, whatever. You're Armando. You're the special guest of the night, and you'd go out on stage and you would tell some funny stories and to solicit the audience for maybe topics or themes or something, and maybe that would trigger a story for you. And you'd talk for a little bit, and the troupe would listen to your stories and then act it out in some capacity mutate it, but it would always have these kind of like touch points from whoever was playing Armando. They'd have to be referencing what happened between that special guest and the audience interaction. And these shows were always hysterical. And you could stop time for the troupe and then continue the line of questioning with the audience and add more to what you were kind of seeing. So every Armando show is always fun. You never know what you were getting. You didn't know who the troupe was going to be. So why am I talking about this at all? I always thought that it would be really fucking fun to do that sort of equivalent, but it would be the rise and fall of a band.
Oh, yeah.
So starting off, reaching super stardom, and then like the crash and burn.
Yeah, like the behind the music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's like my big kind of fantasy if I was ever to, get a group of people together that were super talented enough that could do the improvisation and then kind of write music on the fly where you're soliciting a song name from the audience that would have to become their biggest hit.
Yeah.
And then just show how they, bone each other's, best friends or whatever it is. Like,
steal all the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah, just you just use the framework.
Overdoses.
The rise and fall, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And what are the stupid things that they argue over and it would cause the fights and cause the breakups? That would be my fantasy
you should do that.
Improv comedy show.
Why don't you do it?
Time.
I know. I know. Time is crazy, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than one day you go like, I should have did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I started comedy at 44.
Yeah.
And man, I'm 56 now. I'm so fucking happy I did because I don't ever want to have I should have, or any regrets. I got ran over on my motorcycle a few years ago.
Congratulations.
I've been trying for years, 35 years, and I never got hit.
Yeah.
But I was sliding down the highway and I was just laying. I'm about to get run over. And all I thought was no regrets. And that's fucking hard to get to that level.
Well, no, I think that's a very healthy.
That's great. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've had that on plane rides.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's different with now that I've had kids.
Yeah. Well, that's different. Yeah.
I've had, but for the most part, I kind of no regrets. I feel like I've done right by everybody. And so that's a healthy, good place to be.
It is. Where are you guys family-wise now?
I still, I don't have the relationship that I want with my brother.
Right.
That's really kind of up to him, to want the kind of relationship I certainly want. But that it really changed when my dad passed away. So that's been
I mean, that's public knowledge. We all know it's been this battle, but
but even prior to whatever the battle is, you know, I know people. There's lots of talk about that. But
of course,
just in general, his behavior and personality and all of that really shifted right after our dad died. I called him up one day and I said, "Look, we don't have the relationship that I want. Be fun to play some music together. You know, let's go out, you know, and do this thing. You know, Zappa plays Zappa, right?" And you know, it was really kind of interesting at the time. He was like, "Yeah, you know, I've been thinking about doing something like that. You know, I'll you know, maybe I'll do that, you know, on my own later on, right?" And I was like, well, I've kind of put it all together. You should, you know, maybe just come sit down. Let's you know, try to do this. So we wound up going to a restaurant that doesn't exist anymore, and you know, I introduced him to this guy Danny Heaps and some of the folks that worked with Bob Dylan, and we'd already been talking to, you know, a lot of my dad's promoters, and so I wound up putting the whole Zappa Plays Zappa tour together, and you know, we went on this big promotional tour with my mom, and honestly, just some of the shenanigans and behavior of things. I'm like, life is too short. I don't want to feel bad about. It was, you know, I wanted to do something where it could bring us closer together, and just that's not him. In my relationship, I mean, he's one of the greatest guitar players and the greatest musicians, I think, that doesn't get the credit. And I think that it must be hard to be in the shadow of our father, because he also plays guitar and he also makes a living playing, you know, Frank's music. Right. You know, so that's a tricky, you know, I think that might be really, you know, tricky, you know, where...
not being able to step away from your father and eventually just kind of becoming your father, you know, as far as the music and everything.
Well, he never became my father.
No, I'm just saying he's playing... It's not like he's out doing, like, you know, original records.
No, that's the thing. I think that must be... that was always in my heart. I'm like, you know, this guy doesn't make enough of his own music, and he's getting older, and the audience that is there to hear Frank's music, right? I mean, you know, I hopefully he's going to play more of his own music, so that it's like feeding your soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. The art part of it is the writing and the creating and everything. Yeah. I think, because
you know, that's the thing that is, I think, evolving your creativity. Now, I'm not.
That's why I never played in a cover band.
Yeah, well,
you know what I'm saying?
That's essentially what, you know. He's so talented at the precision at whether it's Frank's music or kind of anybody. He's a great mimic. He's super talented. He's also a Virgo, so very committed to nailing it. You know?
Yeah.
And that's his superpowers. But having a healthy adult conversation. Not so much.
Oh, you know? Man. What about
not
Moon?
for me. Moon and I have been, you know, spending a lot of time together. And
really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
She is. I keep talking about comedy. Maybe I mean, because you're a stand-up and talking about music, but she is one of the funniest people. I mean, for the moments when we had our ups and downs and weren't communicating like, you know, like adults should. I mostly miss the comedy. Even with my brother, he's all really, really funny. I mean, like what you were describing early in our interview.
The E.T.
Oh, yeah.
The fucking Last Temptation of Christ. Yeah. You guys were doing the voiceovers on this stuff, and it was so fucking funny.
But that's the thing. I don't know. At least this. And again, I'm only speaking for me and my complicated relationship with my brother. I love him, and my door never closed. You know, right. In terms of wanting to have a relationship, wanting to have communication. You know, I can only do so much, and you know, I think there's so much misinformation. Everyone, you know, for me, my experience was I became certainly his punching bag, but to everyone else out there, they think I'm, was some monster with the family. And I can rest assure anyone listening to my voice right now that just never happened. The things that have been said are equally baffling to me as to the choices and the whys. And I'm grateful that is all in my rear view mirror. I toughened up probably in the first couple of years of like, this is insane. What's being said and what people think. I've heard it all. It's all been said to me, good, bad, ugly, all of it.
Right.
And it just kind of got to a place where so much,
Well, unfortunately, we live in that world too of just clickbait, So people will just dissect and make stories up and stuff too to get you to click to sell advertising. Meanwhile, destroying possible relationships that might be able to mend, And it's like, I didn't say that. And then you look and it's like, oh, this shit's from like 2015 and it is whipping stuff up,
Well, that's the thing. I just kind of ignored all that. I used to be really active on social media.
Yeah.
And it just became a lot. And, honestly, when I just turned that off.
Yeah, it goes away. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, but also all the things that the conversation, I wasn't even a part of the conversation. Meaning, whatever statements were being made by family members, I literally only responded once, I think, or twice of like, trying to be open and like, hey, this is not helpful, having a conversation in public when there's not a lot of communication privately. And I have to say, maybe he'll remain anonymous, but a close family friend, I'm eternally grateful because trust was such a big issue. Not because for me, not because I didn't want to have conversations or explain, what's happening, but honestly, right after my mother passed, it was a new reality. And I don't know that it was different for each of us in that new reality. Like, I don't know if you've ever experienced waking. I don't know if your parents are still around or if, anyone who's lost parents and then you have to just deal with closing an estate or dealing with taxes or, all of that stuff. I woke up to my reality being I had to be that guy who did that. Right. And if you don't, go down the journey of trying to be informed, that if I had one complaint, it was more like, okay, my ass is being kicked, but no one's, wanting to understand that, no, there are certain things that it's not me doing it. It's more that this is how things have to function because of the way that they were set up. And, so maybe they're the issues of, their unresolved feelings I'm speculating, unresolved feelings around our mother or father, whatever those issues are. I just felt like a lot of that was kind of projected on me of, which was not great, but that it's not uncommon. It just happens.
Yeah. That's
the other new thing I learned is that with families that have the kinds of assets and, not just music families, but just other, again, families that have a business where there's assets, it's gets kind of complicated and people do daffy shit.
Man. Even a pizza business or something,
Yeah.
It'll split up families and it gets crazy.
But it also takes a lot of time. It's not, the things, at least at the timing of when my mother passed, just the time it takes waiting for answers from banks or from the government or it's not something that you can just solve in a week,
right?
It's not great. I don't recommend it.
What about the house? Gaga bought the house, right? Now she's selling it.
She sold it.
Who bought it? Man, that would be to me, I'm like, man, we got to buy that, make it a Zappa Airbnb.
Yeah. I mean, all those kinds of conversations happened. And then you look at, well, can you even do it? And the answer is like, no,
Yeah. Did she ever move into it?
I don't know. I never met her.
Oh, wow.
I was not there the day. It was always certainly when we were if this house. First of all, we were instructed to sell the house as part of the way that the trust worked.
Right.
And this is too much information, and I'm sure nobody cares. But the way that it works is the goal is to try to get as much for the trust, meaning the value of the assets, which then get dispersed to the kids, right, to us. So the goal is to get the greatest value, and then any one of us kids, right, can pay $1 more and buy it ourselves.
Right, match it. Yeah.
Everyone knows that, or at least in our family, everyone knew that. Just like people are just fucking grumpy about it, or at the time.
Yeah.
And like for us, for me specifically, I was like, I'd love for this to go to another Italian musician, and literally saying it out loud, like Lady Gaga, if anyone would like this house, it would be her. And she was, as it turned out, one of 3 people that saw the house, and she's like, no, I want it. And
that's cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and she kept it how it was, all intact, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, well, that's what I read.
Yeah,
it's wild.
So even at the time, like I guess I can talk about it now, but I was respecting her privacy. It's like, okay, can we make sure that no one knows because she's a public figure? And I mean, if I was to speculate why she left there, it's probably when someone tries to gun down her dog walker,
right?
in I guess in the neighborhood or something. If I wasn't really following it, but. Maybe that caused some bad feelings for her there. But whoever has the house, I can say, special place. I mean, both my parents passed in the same room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And Laurel Canyon, man, like, my whole dream when I first moved to LA, I was like, I got to live in Laurel Canyon. It's the history.
Well, you don't want to live actually on Laurel Canyon.
No, I don't want to live on Laurel Canyon.
Yeah,
that's
on Laurel, that's the opposite.
That's the worst. Like the Rubin house, that used to be. My buddies used to live in that one. The one Rick Rubin did Blood Sugar Sex Magic and all. They finally have like 700-foot fucking green shrub. But for years, when my buddies lived there, it was just the street. You lived on the fucking freeway.
So I've never been in there. Is it awesome?
Oh man, it's like. Because
it's weird. There's a house. Well, I think there were 2 houses.
There's a house to the right.
And was that part of the?
That's part of the house. Yeah. So my buddy, the Tiemann brothers, lived in there, and this kid and his mom owned it, and they lived upstairs, and they lived downstairs, and then the one Tiemann lived in the side house, and massive rock jams, parties, Guns N' Roses, just everything you think of Mach 2 of Laurel Canyon. Mach 1 being, of course, the Birds and all of that 60s stuff. This was 80s, drive up the hill. You're in an old rundown mansion that's huge, and you could just play music on 100 and no one would call the cops, and it was just fucking amazing. And then Rubin bought it, cleaned that fucker up, and made it just a palace, man. But you're still on Laurel Canyon, man.
Yeah, it's a funky spot. I mean, my dad's, my mother and father's like legendary house that they rented
next door.
Yeah, the
burned
log
down.
cabin, burned down.
Did that have a bowling alley in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and that it was weird. It burned down, and then there's just a fireplace for 100 years there. Just the fireplace.
My mother was super witchy.
Yeah.
And she's like, we have to move. This place is going to burn down. She just like, we got to get out of here. We got like really all alert. And they wound up, finding another spot, up off of Mulholland, which was, the house we all grew up in. But it was a small house.
Yeah.
That over the years grew from, I don't know, let's say it was a 3,000 square foot house, which is not all that small. Let's say it was 2,000 square feet.
Right.
Probably is more accurate. On a little over half an acre of land, the house grew to be like 10,000 square feet of craziness.
Oh, just kept building onto it like Winchester Mystery House.
Kind of.
Yeah.
My mother, at one point, I told her I was, I'm moving out. She's like, what's it going to take to get you to stay? And I said, all right, well, if you build me a fireman's pole into the shower downstairs, right? It's like done. I mean, that was totally fine, right?
Wow.
So it took over. There's an old dumbwaiter that was in the house. Do you know what a dumbwaiter is?
Oh yeah. They like to lift stuff up to the.
I don't know why it's called a dumbwaiter.
I know. Why isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just instead of a waiter, you got this dumb thing.
Yeah,
That's
but
not a human.
Yeah, it's like at least this one was a hand powered. You pulled a rope and you could have dishes or
Right.
whatever you needed to go to the second floor. At least in our house, you could just send stuff up or send stuff down. And as kids, we'd all crawl in there. Our parents would say, like, don't go in the dumbwaiter. We're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we would go in there, hold the rope, and it became a playpen. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Did not recommend it because you could just get in there, depending on how much you weigh, and just fall and
To the ground.
really be really injured. But because there was this hole in this space, yeah, no problem. She just put in this fucking fireman's pole, and I thought that was going to be awesome.
Oh my
They're
God.
like, anytime I need to take a shower, I'll just zip down on the pole. And this is a classic where you think it's going to be great,
Yeah.
and if you're nude, wanting to go into the
Nude on the fire pole.
you're
Just fucking
you
ball burn.
you absolutely hurt yourself.
Yeah.
It is not like a slick and you're going to go down. Whatever part of your body is going to get that copper burn, like the the smell of the pole. It's just bad.
Just imagine
So-
the carpenter guy. So what do you want to do? Well, we want to do a pole here down to the shower. There's so many Hollywood stories like that, dude.
Well-
I want this.
it's all done legal, right?
I know,
the fire
but
department, you had to order a special pole,
Right.
But
I'm
it
just
had to
saying,
be legit.
that
Yeah.
wacky ideas of Los Angeles when people get next level money or whatever, and they're like, over here, I want to have this. And they're like, okay.
By the way, to put it in, I don't know that this is. Yes, I hear what you're saying with next level money, but just
Yeah.
to back this up.
Oh, yeah.
This was like
Yeah.
it just is measured how tall do you need the hole to be,
Yeah.
and how do you do it to code, which is weird to look up. Like, how do you do a fireman's pole to code? My mother
Right.
did the research, but there was already a hole, right?
Yeah.
So all we did was put a protective, railing around the hole.
Yeah.
And you just don't think that in the fantasy as a kid,
How often did you use it? Once?
it's unusable.
Unusable.
I mean, you could absolutely use it, but you had to wear clothes.
Yeah.
So it defeated the whole purpose of I'm going to save some time and zip down into the shower. It was a fun idea.
That's hilarious.
To use the shower, I would actually more often than not just use the ladder to crawl up or down from a shower. So I basically had a hole in the ground where I would bathe.
Oh, my God.
And, crawl up or down with the ladder. Weird.
So the Zappa Band is out on tour right now.
It's Robert
Ray White,
Martin.
Robert Martin, Scott Tunis, Jamie Kime, and Joe Travers.
Yeah.
And how many dates are they doing? And what era are they playing? And all of that. Is it a random era, like a montage, or are they picking eras?
Well, I feel like there's so much to choose, and those guys are so competent and they know the repertoire. So
Right.
they, for the most part, kind of put together what inspires them and what feels fun for a tour. We are fortunate enough that we have certain releases that come out. Worked really hard to make sure that we have consistent releases. My goal when I was thrust into the position of helping the estate grow, I'm proud to say I've truly significantly grown the business. But when we have releases, the goal is to have more people be able to hear. If there's an album that's coming out, the band will play some tracks from those releases in the way that are on those releases, so that there's more synergy between the albums that come out and the opportunity to hear great live music. So I don't know what they're going to play tonight.
Oh, cool.
and I'm looking forward to hearing them. The Whiskey's Special Place.
Great.
Dad got signed at the Whiskey.
Unbelievable. Early Mothers of Invention shows. Fucking the history in there.
Yeah, so they know that. So they'll do some. They'll dazzle the audience tonight for sure. But
I want to hear Valley Girl with Moon. Just have her down there one day.
Well, you might find that this is a big anniversary year for that track. So without spoiling things, there's definitely something special on the horizon. And who knows? Maybe you'll be hearing from Moon talking about it. You never know.
Are they doing hologram anymore?
The Bizarre World of Frank Zappa. I know everyone loves to use the word hologram. I've always talked about it in the terms of this multimedia experience, and if we can pull off doing it again, we certainly will. The goal is to have it come out hopefully at the end of the year. Going to maybe next year, but it's a beast of a production.
Right. I can imagine
to do it.
Yeah,
and we can't really afford to have, COVID and those.
Oh, you can't have any downfall.
So it's a little tricky, but yes, the intention is for that to go out, and we've been working on new visual interpretations of new songs for the tour too. So,
wow.
That was a Herculean undertaking. It took a lot of my time and energy, love and focus to get that going. For the people that did see it, I'm sure. You can see how people reacted, which was really great. People loved it. It's a trip. If you are someone who likes psychedelics and you go to that show, you're going to be forever changed.
Wow.
Oh yeah. No, it's a big. I always called it the smorgasbord of awesome because each track is a whole different visual world. Going from song to song to song. It's a big experience.
I got to see that, man.
It's fucking awesome.
You guys did it at the Did you do it at the Will Turn?
We were gonna do a bunch of LA shows,
right?
And I was hoping to actually do the kickoff that way, and it didn't happen. And then when we were just picking up steam to go back out and do it all again, COVID, and it is really tough to put the show up and down in a day. Yeah, there'll be news about what's happening with that show in the near-ish future, because we're our partners that help us put it together, are rather unique partners to have. So I say that in a good way. So if you look up who's helping, who's been there for Illusion, they happen to own certain things like Madison Square Garden and
the Forum.
So we're blessed that the Dolan family, or Tom Dolan, has been a big supporter of these kinds of experiences, and I think we're looking to see what the future holds for I'm not saying that Illusion as a group is necessarily working on their big dome experiences.
Oh yeah. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see what those folks are cooking up over there.
Yeah. How about Steve Vai? Ever talk to him? Does he ever? Yeah. I've been trying to get Steve Vai on the show like fucking 10 years. I just don't know how to get a hold of him.
Oh well, I know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah.
Steve's incredible.
Yeah.
Steve's a spectacular human being.
What about Bozio? How about Bozio?
I actually haven't. Fuck, I'm trying to think of the last time I spoke to him.
He's kind of like just out in Ventura or something in his own world, right? Just like does he play? He doesn't play with anybody or anything. It'd be great to see him.
He is a
monster.
Really special artist.
The guy's a monster.
Yeah. We have a shared friend in John Good at DW Drums. John is incredible human being. But the last time I I didn't go to this. We did this really fun collaboration on the Black Page snare drum that we did with DW, and I didn't get a chance to go out there and sit with him because he, in celebration of the snare. DW does these amazing like snare collaborations.
Oh wow!
If you go down there, the interwebs, you can find like the kind of cool, collaborations. But Terry's, a big DW guy, and so that was kind of like the last time I think we communicated. It was not that long ago.
Yeah.
This is,
He's amazing.
I love him.
Yeah,
I love Missing Persons.
I saw him at the S Festival in '83.
Yeah.
Missing Persons up there, just fucking killing it.
I went with Frank as a kid, and I think John Waite opened up for them,
wow.
The amphitheater. But I want to say also Irvine Meadows, but I could totally be wrong. I forgot. I saw them a few times.
Both venues gone.
Yeah.
All the venues are gone. They just pop new ones up, and you're like, what happened to the other venues? Olympic Auditorium. What happened to that?
The Universal Amphitheater
The best. Awesome. It was the best.
It's an amazing sounding venue. Sorry.
What one?
The Dolby Theater.
Oh, no, that fucking place is great, dude.
That is...
I love it.
That is I saw Joe Bonamassa play there.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I don't need earplugs. And he's cranking it.
Yeah.
And the whole room, wherever you walk, fucking awesome.
Amazing.
Is it the Kodak Theater, Dolby Theater?
Yeah, it was the Kodak, I think. Now I don't know. I think Kodak's gone or whatever. Now they just call it whatever. But it's great.
It's killer.
Yeah.
Killer diller. Funny you say that. We also looked at doing the Bizarre World there. But it's all about the sight lines, and because we have a lot of tech that goes along with, you want everyone to have a good seat. But people will be able to see it again.
Well, thanks for doing the show, dude.
I feel like this is such a fucking fun hang. No, thank you.
Yeah, come see comedy anytime. I'll give you my number, and we'll hang out.
You're a handsome man. You're a scholar.
Yeah,
your dog is adorable.
That's Gertie.
Gertie's adorable.
Tour dates, are they on a Zappa website or something?
You can go to the zappaband.com. You can find them at their socials as well.
Yeah, and then the label is constantly putting out stuff.
For sure, yeah.
Yep, and is that, what's the website for the label?
Zappa.com.
Oh, Zappa.com.
Yeah.
There you go, that easy.
Yeah.
And then what about you? You still doing voiceovers and all that?
I work a lot in animation.
Yeah.
But you'll see some kind of fun stuff on the horizon that who knows? Maybe we'll have you you on, man.
I've been trying to. I've had 2 voiceover agents. Both were garbage. There's no way I shouldn't be in voiceover.
It's the best gig,
dude. I did 5 when I first moved here to LA. Instantly, Diet Dr. Pepper, singing ones and shit. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be fucking rich. And then never again.
It's the best gig. I was the voice of Lexus for a year.
Wow.
And that was the...
Can you give it to us?
I can't, no, I can't.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, like I was doing
because it really is like an intimate thing when you lock into what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I just read the script, I immediately see a voice in it. Like I'm reading, I go, this guy's like, I don't care what you say. I'm fucking bad.
Right.
Whatever. Like, I don't care what you say. There's all that. You just feel what the guy is.
The best advice to anyone who's coming to LA who wants to get into the voiceover game:
be a superstar. Be Brad Pitt, because they took all the gigs. These fuckers.
No, there's this great organization. They're like, because some people, there's a lot of non-union gigs too.
Yeah.
Kelmanson and Kelmanson.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot say enough about that organization. They teach you the basics on how to... I went there. I was like, I want to get into kind of voiceovers. So what does that look like? And they help you with your readings. And the second I did their course...
Yeah.
Right?
Here in
went
town?
down there. Yeah, here in town. In Burbank.
How long does it take?
No, it's really fun. You get to meet other people that are also want to be in that space. I think it was like an hour and a half.
Oh, it's just one time.
No, you go. It's like acting class.
Oh,
you
yeah,
go for a couple weeks or something.
Cool.
But right off of that, I booked tons of video games.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, tons of ads.
Yeah.
But the biggest get that I had, which I thought like, I'm gonna fucking retire. This is never going anywhere.
Right.
You know, and yeah, the main guy at Lexus hated that they brought in a different voice because I was the voice of the IS when they first launched in the US.
Yeah.
And you know, rightfully so. He definitely is such a recognizable voice. He's like, if you want me to stay, I'm doing all or nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I went way of the dodo. But for it was good. It was good while it lasted a couple of years. I worked 5-6 hours, you know, and he was making doctor money.
I know,
you know?
right?
Crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, look, I got all the equipment here, right? So when I do the auditions, man, I do these things in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I just fire it up. I do like 3 different versions and fire it up. And they always say like, God damn, your shit sounds great. But what I've learned, and I learned this from a high up agent, he goes, if you're with the small agent, the people don't even look at, they only take the first 3 or 4 from the big agents. They're not even hearing your shit.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing it like every day. I'm getting better at it, but no one was hearing it.
Yeah,
So
I can't speak to that. I don't audition or do
Yeah.
much voiceover stuff now. I just kind of create the shows and give myself the job.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
I'll tell you, you know, next time we have a new animated show,
oh yeah.
we'll talk.
That's
We'll-
great.
We'll get you on one of them.
All right, that'll be great, man. That's like my drive. I just want to do cartoons.
the best.
Oh man,
It's the best. It's the best work. If you
and
can
I
get
like
it.
the edgy ones, like Burr's F is for Family, where you get
Yeah.
to swear and shit. Like, you know, like I couldn't believe. I was really bummed that they didn't make the Freak Brothers super edgy and radical. Because
Right.
that was my dream to remake the Freak Brothers or Fat Freddy's Cat, which was the 70s stoner comics and the 60s R. Crumb shit. I really wanted to get into that. Like, man, this is an edgy ass fucking cartoon.
So, voiceover is so fun.
Yeah.
In your spare time, man, go take.
I'm going to do it. So
go
what
get
is it
the-
called?
Kelmanson and Kelmanson.
Kilmanson?
And Kelmanson. They're like on Verdugo in Burbank.
All right.
But dude, go track down like a vintage public domain cartoons.
Yeah.
Or old anime and make your reel and redub all of it.
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's cool
Score
shit.
it, like do the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to, because, you know, bring your own unique.
That's
comedy
it. Yeah,
to
you're right, man. You got to make your own thing. I make,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, this podcast's been on fucking almost 11 years now. I do it all myself. I write all my comedy. I do as much stuff as I can, you know. So, yeah, it's no complaints here. Yeah.
Has there ever been a show where it's actually a comedy duo, but you get heckled?
Well, there are these shows.
Like where someone is like your partner in crime is the heckler.
Oh, that's a good idea. Like a guy in the crowd. And
Yeah.
then, you know what, that I'm sure some people, because there's been, you know, guys that in the alt world, I think, that would do kind of stuff like that, like planted
Yeah.
heckles, you know, or that kind of thing where you're like, this is insane what we're seeing. There's cool shows that I like now where you take an idea from the audience
Yeah.
and you riff on that.
Well, I always like these, not like them, but I was always fascinated by all these scenes in the movies where there's a bunch of people talking about what's happening in the local town, and you walk up to the podium and it's just
those.
everyone complaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
A town hall, right? That would actually be a fun comedy show where
yeah.
you have people on stage doing what they're doing, and then the audience, like a town hall, can get up to the podium in the audience.
Yeah.
And state their case, and
Yeah.
then you have to deal with it.
Well, I think doing comedy these days is that with the PC Karens and everything. There's a lot of town hall going on.
I know
it.
that's
It's
that's
fucking weird.
unconscionable.
Like, I can't believe what he said. It's like it's constant town hall. So it's well. Thanks for doing the
thank
show,
you.
dude.
Yeah.
Awesome,
You
man.
rock.
Yeah,
Same, man.
and we'll hang out.
Cool.
See you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on iTunes and iTunes and YouTube. Yeah.